Allison Holker, who was married to Twitch. If you don't know who Twitch is, Twitch was a DJ slash co-host on the Ellen DeGeneres show, right? Like he was always super happy, dancing. He also posted a lot of like dancing videos on TikTok and other social media platforms. And that's how we kind of got to know his wife, Allison Holker. And unfortunately, he passed away 2 years ago due to suicide, right? And that news caught everybody by like surprise, because from our side, all we saw was him being happy, not only on the Ellen DeGeneres show, but like on social media. So we were all like shocked. So this week, Allison did an interview with People magazine to promote her memoir, her new memoir that is coming out. And in this interview that she did with People magazine, she kind of exposed, I'm going to call it exposed, or revealed that Twitch was dealing with a drug addiction, right? She also said that, you know, the way she found out about his drug addiction was when she went to like try to find his outfit for the funeral. She was going through his closet and she found like pills and other drugs in shoe boxes, and she was like so shocked, she couldn't believe it. And then fast forward, she wanted some sort of closure, so she started reading his journals, and in the journals she found some other information about his personal life, saying that
he was
where
like
is it?
when he was younger.
Yeah, she found out something along the lines that like he was dealing with some trauma from when he was younger and he was molested. And she revealed this information in this People magazine interview. Mind you, the couple shared 3 kids, right? So he left behind 3 kids, and from their 9 years of marriage, she said that like it was a good marriage. So my question to Rebecca is, do you think that her revealing this information 2 years after he committed suicide in her book, in her memoir, was necessary?
So before I answer that, I'm going to show this, and then I'm going to get into my thoughts. Okay, so let me just show y'all the clip.
I wish in that part of my life with him that he would have felt comfortable asking for help, wanting to go to therapy, wanting to talk to his friends or loved ones or people he felt comfortable with about what he was really feeling. But I think he was always so strong for everyone. He wanted to continue to be that. And that's what I've learned the most, is that even for myself, I've had some major lows, you know, as I'm trying to figure this out and navigate this myself, and I'm very scared to ask for help. And I'm learning how much strength it actually shows when you decide to stand up for yourself and ask for help and finally lean on someone. You know, I know for me, for the last 2 years, I felt like I wanted to get my kids through everything. I want to get my family through everything. And I want to get all my friends and all the fans and all these people that loved our family so much. I wanted to make sure I could carry them and get them through it. And then I realized, well, wait, I haven't taken a moment to also heal myself. And so it's like I'm learning that what he experienced, I want to be an example of now and show other people they can do it. I had dealt with an ex that had addiction problems, and then I realized Steven had addiction problems, and it's something that I kind of have been like, where was I involved in this? And I had to take some steps for myself to realize, like, you know, I was able to help one, and I wish I could have been that for the other. But it's also not my job to do that. There was a moment I was with one of my really dear friends, and we were cleaning out the closet and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. And it was a really triggering moment for me because there was a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed. And it was very alarming to me to learn that there was so much happening that I had no clue. So it was a really scary moment in my life to figure that out. But it also helped me process that he was going through so much. And he was hiding so much, and there must have been a lot of shame in that. And he was wrestling with a lot inside himself, and he was trying to self-medicate and cope with all those feelings because he didn't want to put it on anyone. Because he loved everyone so much. He didn't want other people to take on his pain. But it was very alarming and scary to find those things and have never known. I have been trying.
Girl, just talking, just literally nothing coming out her mouth. It's
So,
giving. She want to be the victim so bad. Dios que me perdone. I shouldn't have said that, but it's like, girl, what?
so to answer the question, right, from before, how do I feel when I see this? You are not Captain Save-A-Ho. If you want to write a book about, your grieving process, how you're healing, how you're coping with knowing that the man that you were with for this amount of years, how he took his life, and like, you trying to figure out how to navigate through this new, right? Why did you need to put his business out there? You start off by saying you wish that you were his safe place. Clearly, he was not comfortable about talking about those instances with you. So who are you to think that you can reveal that to everybody else? And then also you gonna mention your ex who has an addiction. Girl, you just putting everybody's business out there. Right? So my thing is, I don't understand where the idea of, I want to talk about my grieving process. I want to talk about how I felt, how I'm moving, and how I'm coping, how I'm raising our 3 children without the father who I had the children with. Where me releasing the fact of him being sexually abused as a child and him having a drug addiction, when the autopsy was done, there was no drugs or alcohol found in his system. That has nothing to do with nothing. Like, yes, he could have been struggling. He had demons and battles that he was fighting in private. Who are you to make it public? I literally do not understand like where you get out of going out of your way to mention something like this, right? And then like she had basically, after the whole backlash that she was getting, she had basically released a statement. And so in her statement, she basically talked about, to fans of Steven and our family and friends, I want to be clear that my only intention of writing this book is to share my own story as well as part of my life with Steven to help other people, right? And she just continues talking about that. And like the thing that she keeps saying is that I want to help other people. I want to help other people. If you want to help others, go get a degree in it. Go get a degree in grief counseling. Get a degree in something. Like you mentioned, she mentioned in her interview that she basically started a foundation to talk about, like, basically in honor of Stevens, for people who are going through stuff like addictions and stuff like that. Like, if you wanted to do that, go ahead. Great, cool, go do that. If you want to talk about your healing process in your book, you could have just mentioned the fact that, oh, he was going through these silent battles and I wasn't there for him and kept it pushing. Make the book about you and your grieving process. You don't need to air that man's dirty laundry.
Yeah, and I think it's also very important for us to point out that his family has spoken out against the things that she is saying. And the family also claims that she made them sign NDA forms, non disclosure agreements, essentially like to attend his funeral. Like, imagine telling the mom that pushed the boy out, oh, if you want to come to his funeral, you need to sign an NDA form. Like, what am I going to see at a funeral that I'm going to talk about? Like, that's just weird. So when she said this and this interview dropped, a lot of his family and the people around him, friends that had worked with him in the dance industry, was like, this is not true. And they also say that Allison has a track record of, doing things for her own personal gain. And like Rebecca said, I think there are certain things that you just don't do. If not for, because Twitch passed away, whatever, for your kids. You have a teenage daughter. Imagine having to go to school, and hopefully, like, she is surrounded by good group of friends, but like, no one needs to know what happened to your deceased father. Oh, what happened to him when he was younger? That is not your story to tell. That is not your story to tell. Like Rebecca said, if you want to talk about you and what your healing process is going through, okay, but don't bring up what happened to him when he was younger. No one gave you, number one, no one gave you the right to read his journal. But okay, if you needed some closure, I understand that. But then for you to proceed and air that out to the world is actually insane. And I truly do believe, and God forgive me, but like, you're doing that because you want more book sales. Because to be honest, I don't think no one's like, oh yeah, I am so interested in Allison's life and how she's doing. No, people actually do care about Twitch because he was the one that we saw every afternoon on our TV, not really her. And it's just, I just cannot imagine being that money hungry.
Yeah, yeah. And I think my whole thing is also is the fact that, like, first off, why am I signing an NDA to go to a funeral? That's weird. That's very weird. And I just think her way of going about everything is very weird. Like, and to your point that you mentioned, think about your children. This is not like, and this is like, I hate that I'm about to say this because I really do feel like, people who suffer in silence, you need to seek help and stuff like that. But like, when it comes to addiction, what is the first thing that people always tell you? If the person wants to get help, they will get help. If they don't want to get help, you cannot force somebody who doesn't want to be helped. Right? And so it's just like you going out of your way to put all this information out there. It's just like, did you really love him? I see why you weren't his safe place. Girl, look what you doing.
Yeah, I just think it's so disrespectful in so many ways. And if you say that you guys had a great 9-year relationship and whatever, everything was good, this is like a slap in the face. Yes, he's not here anymore. So whatever, his personality of like being the happy guy, whatever, that's like not eliminated, but people are now gonna wonder, like, oh, sometimes like the strongest people be in fact like the strongest and the most emotional. That I can see. But also it's like the fact that his family is like negating everything that she's saying is very crazy to me. Like, his mother should not have to be speaking out against all of these allegations. Like, how are you also dropping a book with so much information, but you never thought to go talk to his family first? You're involving him and his legacy. Like, how you not, oh hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm dropping this book and I'm including this information. The fact that his mom had to learn about it through social media is insane.
Exactly. And my whole thing is, I know, especially in a lot of Black families, unfortunately, like topics of like sexual abuse and stuff like that happens, right? And we hear these stories and we hear how people basically suffer in silence for so long until they find ways to cope, or they go to therapy to figure things out and stuff like that. But like, when it comes to those situations, like I said, you have to want to go find the help. A lot of people suffer in silence every day. And honestly, that is a choice that they make because either they feel like there is no one around them who they can comfortably talk to about that, or they are not comfortable with the idea of seeking help for something that they've just basically become accustomed to, a feeling that they've just always had. And it's like, you weren't in that hotel room or motel room where he killed himself to know what type of headspace he was in. You don't know what was going through his head. You don't know nothing. And like, if that was the whole thing, that you're upset that you don't know, like, talk about how, like, I feel like I'm bothered by the fact that I couldn't be the one there for him. I'm sorry at the fact that I wasn't his safe place. I'm sorry that I wasn't this, I wasn't that. Let everything focus on your emotions. But to sit there and include all his details that he didn't even let nobody else know, to the world to know, it's just like, I don't understand where in your mind the 2 + 2 was collecting to like 4. But baby, you're a weirdo for that.
Yeah. And to wrap this topic up, I do want to say, as is so like the world, maybe this portion about Twitch is a page. But because of that page where you aired out stuff that didn't move the needle in any type, way, shape, or form, now your book is going to be associated with you trying to drag down your ex-husband who committed suicide. So you might as well maybe have kept that page and that information to yourself, and you would have been in a better situation, and you probably would have sold more books. Because now, I mean, maybe people might hate buy, because that is a thing. Haters are your biggest motivators, but we'll see.